I'll try. So yeah, what you guys saw, those are that's my life growing up. My parents separated when my mom was pregnant with me, so I grew up in a blended family. And my stepdad's brother, when I was about 3 or 4 years old, he molested me and my sister. And then I think because of that taking place in my life, it kind of made me question and it altered my innocence, and the way I perceived people. And by the time I hit high school, my mom and my stepdad started having issues, infidelity. And in high school, it just downhill. By my freshman year in high school, I started cutting. And I remember one time I had cut my left wrist so bad, I couldn't get the bleeding to stop. And I remember praying, like, God, make it stop bleeding. And then a few minutes later, it stopped. But after that, I was like, okay, I'm never going to cut my wrist again. Forget that, I'm not going to go down that path. Then eventually, because of bad relationship I was in, I started pill popping, and I would just take handfuls of Tylenol, and just I was done with life, And then one of the cards said, that relationship I was in high school, it was a really toxic relationship. Like, there was nothing good about it. And I remember we were both really drunk one night. I think I was probably like 16 or 17 years old. And I remember crying and saying, and this is right before, so I was 18. It was right before I got saved. I remember crying one night and saying, if God really loved me, why would he allow somebody to take my innocence from me when I didn't even know what it was? Like, that's not fair to me. And it was just a big argument. I don't even know why I told my boyfriend that at the time. It was just, I was angry and I was hurting. I was really hurting. And he punched me in the face, and I ran off crying. And I remember walking the streets in Rancho Cucamonga that night, and just crying and just feeling super alone, super like empty. Like, I was so empty I couldn't even cry anymore. Like, I could feel nothing. And my aunt invited me to a girls' conference at Calvary Chapel, West Covina. And I wasn't raised in the church, but I was like, okay, whatever, I'll go. And at that conference, a lady was speaking. I don't know if you guys know her, Bianca Olgoff. And she was Bianca Juarez before at the time when she was speaking. She's Pancho Juarez's daughter. And I remember what struck me was, like, just the whole time this lady was speaking, like, everything she was sharing was, like, totally resonating with me. And I was just, like, in awe of her. I was totally captivated by everything she was sharing about who God was, and just being a young woman and the confusion of the world and how, it just gets to you. And what she told me, which was, I knew it was God speaking, because I never met this woman before. I had never really stepped in a church like this before. And she said, she's giving her message, and she says, and I don't know why, but I feel like there's a young lady here, and God's just putting in my heart, and he's saying, you're holding out your hands like this, and you're broken, and you're asking God to help you. You're crying for help. And I'm telling you, God's here to help you. He wants to help you. And in my heart, I'm thinking, she's talking about me. How does she know this? But God knew. God knew. And I just, she gave the altar call, and I was like the first girl down the stage in the front praying. And just like the card said, I just, right away, I was one of those, like, radical conversions. Like, I got saved, and it was like a 180 overnight. I was telling everybody about Jesus the next day. My family was like, who are you? It was an overnight, transformation in my life. And it was just like the peace of Christ that surpasses all understanding, like the Bible says, overcame me. And it was just different. I was different after that. There's a quote I wanted to share that my friend shared with me recently, and I feel like it goes so perfectly if I can share it with today's conference. It's by Lisa Turkhurst. I don't know if any of you have heard about her. It says, when we place our dust in God's hands, he mixes it with his living water and clay that's formed, then made into anything. The Bible says, woe to those who quarrel with their maker, those who are nothing but potsherds among the potsherd, on the ground. Does the clay say to the potter, what are you making? Does your work say the potter has no hands? And that's in Isaiah 45:9. She says, God is making something beautiful out of our lives. Wise potters not only know how to make beautiful things, but also know how important it is to add dust from previously broken pieces. These pieces must be shattered just right. If too fine, it can add structure to the new clay, or it can't add structure to the new clay. If too coarse, it will make the potter's hands bleed. When shattered just right, it will enable a potter to form clay into a larger, stronger vessel. And that's just like what Michelle was saying last night, right? It will make a stronger vessel than ever before, able to withstand the fires, much hotter as well. And when glazed, it creates pieces of much more beauty. And I just felt like, wow, that couldn't just be any more fitting. And it was right before the conference. And I feel like, you know, what she was saying last night about just the leaky pieces and the broken pieces. And the Lord was just, if I can, just putting it in my heart that there might be women who are actually believers here who are having leaky pieces, like you're leaky. And God brought us here this weekend to you know, fill those leaks up and those cracks. And I just feel like everything you guys have been sharing is just so spot on. It's been a blessing.
Amen.